Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Crankyconrods. And today you join me on this glorious day where I'm doing a Mercedes Sprinter / Crafter. Now, some of you in the comments did say to me it's just a Crafter. Well, it's not. It is a Mercedes Sprinter chassis with combined with the Volkswagen Crafter. And I'll show you that in just a second. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to be doing a simple brake pads and rear discs on this Volkswagen Crafter, which is the same as the Sprinter. So I'll get you guys in when we're doing it, because you guys have asked me to be a little bit more, should we call it, informative in what I do. So bear with me, I'm going to try and show you guys what it is and how I do it. Right, okay, so you're here, got 2, 4, 6, 19 mils for your lug nuts, wheel nuts, whichever way you want to call it. Okay, now I'm only using the baby jack today, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be jacking it up on the bottom of the shock absorber because it's the lowest point, and I'm going to be using a 3-ton axle stand up here, wherever you may be. Just here, look, on the bottom of the spring hanger, because it's the strongest points of the van. So I'm going to go ahead, get the wheel off and get the van sorted, and get you guys in and show you what it is on the calipers and that. Right, okay, so once we've got the wheel off, jack, axle stand, both at the same time. I don't want to see anyone using just the jack on its own whilst doing this, unless, you know, you absolutely had to. However, I don't want to see anyone using just the jack. You know, safety first, fellas. You know, or fellas, you know, ladies. You know, not thing. But, yeah. Because if the jack ever fails, and your legs under here, you know, the whole doodle-alley, not to be depressive at all. Right. So, onto the back of the caliper. 2 13 mils. One there. One down here. And 2 21 mils, which is that one there, and there's another one just there, look, as you can see. So I'm going to go whiz them off and I'll show you guys in just a second. Right, I nearly missed a step there for you. Now, if you're going to go ahead and change the discs and the pads together, then this method is you can use. If you're keeping the discs and just changing the pads, then it's another method. Now, this method, I would just normally stick a screwdriver between the disc and the pad and just pry it across, like so, against the disc, and track the caliper that way. However, you could go the more professional route and use one of these, a caliper wind back tool. And basically, the concept is the same, and you move the caliper back in with either one. So that's a left and a right caliper wind back tool, or this method. And there we go, look folks, for those that didn't believe me that it was a Mercedes / Volkswagen, it's actually more of a Mercedes. But, you know, hey ho, I'm not normally wrong, me. Right folks, so after removing the 221s on the back, we're left with the disc. Somebody has already gone ahead and broken us off the disc location screw, scrub screw, whatever you wish to call it. And also, just while I'm on the subject, I've been in here, if anyone knows the part number for the uprated rear springs, hangers, leaf springs, whatever you want to call it, leaf springs here in the UK, I'm looking for possibly a set of uprated rear leaf springs, or the part number, or you can go ahead and shoot me an email if you have any uprated leaf springs for this short wheelbase Crafter / Sprinter. That would be absolutely fantastic. And I'll probably leave my email address in the bottom in the descriptions for you, if you ever want to let me know if you've got one or something. Okay, right, back on with it. Holy mother of sandals. That was not coming off this lip. Holy cow. I'm surprised I didn't split the disc. Beating the hell out of this thing. Anyway, it wasn't because it was stuck on the handbrake shoes. It was because it was stuck to the hub. My God. Look at the state of that. Yep. So, anyway, heat and hammers and patience and bigger hammers and more bigger hammers and bigger pry bars and stuff like that. She's off. Right, let's get these handbrake shoes cleaned up. Brake cleaner them, adjust them, nip them up, and clean up this hub, get some anti-seize on it, and I'll show you guys in a second. Right, so I've given the top of the shoes a quick wipe over with a bit of sandpaper and just clean everything up. Now what we're going to do is just here is your handbrake adjuster, well, one of them anyway, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do that about a quarter of a turn, half a turn maybe, and then we're going to put the disc on and see if it binds up. If it binds up and doesn't allow the disc to sit on straight, we're just going to come back in here and wind it back the other way, so the opposite way you've just cranked it. And then what you're going to do is keep doing it till it goes on but it's snug, and then that's your adjustment on your handbrake. And then obviously from there onwards you just put the disc back on and make sure it rotates and it's not binding up on the shoes and stuff. But yeah, the shoes on this one are pretty good. So yeah, we're just going to get the disc on now, get the caliper carrier cleaned up, and move on. Right folks, so I forgot to mention, put a little bit of anti-seize copper grease, or you know, round here. By the way, they're not a sponsor. Just whiz it round, and just put a couple of wheel nuts on if you haven't got the locking screw on yours. That just makes sure that the disc doesn't come off. And I know what you're all going to say, you've just touched the disc. Yeah, look at that, look, oh boo-hoo. Right, that's what brake cleaner's invented for, to getting your greasy paw prints off of it. So, what I'm going to do now is just get my caliper carrier. I'm going to pull these guide pins out. It's very difficult when you've got the thing. I'm just going to pop these out, pop this out, clean them up. I'll show you that in a second. And obviously you're going to run the wire wheel across here and here. Just clean it all up, ready for the pads and everything to go in, and a bit of copper grease and stuff. But I'll show you how to just clean up these guide pins. Right folks, so just a little bit of a clean up. There we go. A little double of copper grease. Just going to whiz that in, spin it around a couple of times and everything else. What you don't want to do with these guide pins is use an abrasive and break the coating that's on these, because what will happen is once they get a bit of moisture in them, they'll flash rust, and then once they flash rust into the caliper carrier, and then you end up with seized calipers and guides and stuff like that. Well, seized guides, and then you end up having to buy new caliper carriers. So that's why I just use a bit of brake cleaner, wipe them over, a bit of copper grease, and put them back in. I don't sit there with a bit of sandpaper and clean these up, because obviously, like I just said, you won't be actually doing anything to help them. Anyway, I'll get this one cleaned up, because this one's got a rubber tip on the end of it, and obviously we don't want to be damaging that either. So, I'll show you in a sec. This is the, I think it's the top one of the two. Nope, it's the bottom one. There you go. Come on, camera, focus. There's your rubber tip. So you don't want to be damaging any of this. So just a bit of copper grease around there with your fingers. Go down its shaft. Grease your shaft, folks, you know. And then just make sure that it's like this one, look. It just moves nice and freely. And there's no, like bitty grindingness as it comes in and out. Because we don't want that, do we, fellas? A grindy tip. Anyway, I'll get you guys back in when we've got the caliper back on, and I've just run the rail wheel across there. And just like that, calipers, the pads look. I've just got a bit of copper grease on top and bottom. It all slides, and the icing on the cake now is just putting this in its little home and click, and that's it. However, I do owe the customer, the friend, another brake pad wear indicator, because one of the new ones, when it came out of the box, I put it in and been a bit blind. I put it in the wrong way, and I put it in the inboard, not the outboard, and I snapped the tab off the sensor. So yeah, which is something you don't want to be doing. So I'll owe him a new sensor, which isn't going to be the end of the world. However, like I say, it's best to be honest when you're doing stuff like this. So now all we're going to do is brake cleaner the disc, and make sure nice that everything is all cleaned up. There's another bit there, look. Oh, there's a bit there, look, as well. Anyway, I'm going to get the wheel back on and get ready to sign this job out. And I've just looked up the application for this vehicle, and I believe the wheel torque settings are between 180 and 225. Well, I don't think that's right, so I'm going to go on the lower end of 180, and that should be all it. And we're going to take this up for a rip up the road and see what the installation's bedding in period is on the pads by their instructions. It's usually about 50 miles general driving, no heavy braking and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm going to sign out now on this one and say much love from me, and peace out.